Good morning. Monday here in New Zealand. And yeah, I wanted to share a series of realizations I had last night because they're really exciting. And yeah, maybe it'll be interesting for someone out there now or in the future to follow the thread of something like this or kind of better understand how these things might unfold. Um, so yesterday on the stream, Dan Penner, big up Dan, was trying to encourage me to seriously consider starting a productized design service, like a design subscription service, something like Design Joy or Bake Design and so forth. And yeah, the more Dan spoke to it, the more I was convinced that he's right. I think, yeah, I'm at a level of design where I can nail these kind of short engagements, and I'm able to move really quickly, which is, I guess, the prerequisite for those kind of engagements. I think it fits my mode of working, and my preference for working on things, different things, and finding it interesting and novel. Um, yeah. So fortunately, a wonderful, roll of the dice. Steve Condy, big up Steve. Steve came through the stream yesterday evening, so not long after, a few hours after Dan had made his comments, and booked in like a 10-minute product design feedback session with me, which I did on the stream as per his request. And yeah, spent 10 minutes going through a flow for a kind of a yoga discovery app he's been working on. And I just ended up probably spending an hour actually rebuilding a part of the UI. And I really enjoyed it. And I found myself in that place before, but I think I was really nicely primed from that conversation with Dan to, in that moment, realize, hang on a sec, I guess this is roughly the same thing. I love it. I'm good at it. I'm quick. I really enjoy it. It's high remuneration, high pay. So yeah. Now, when I went home, I've been trying to get away from like watching YouTube videos. It's kind of one of my final cruxes. Whilst I'm kind of doing my chores at night, it's just really nice to have a clear head and be thinking about things and processing stuff. But yeah, I decided I'd clean the kitchen and watch something on YouTube whilst I was doing it. And a video came up very serendipitously, which was an interview by Pat from Starter Story, or like not an interview per se, but I don't know, a exploration video, or a short video talking about Brett from Design Joy, who was kind of the first to really kick off the one-person agency productized service model. And some stuff really leapt out to me. It was a 15-minute video, but I think this is where a cascade of particle collisions started to occur. So I think I got a reference here as well. Nassim, really cool guy on Twitter, who had, I saw a thread a few days ago prior to Dan's comments, all that kind of thing, sharing his perspective, having done some research and thinking about productized design services. And one of the things Nassim touched on was the fact that it's probably going to continue as a trend, and it works because part of the reason it works, or part of the one of the prerequisites for it working, is you have to have a bit of a platform and a bit of a following. Because from the hiring point of view, like I've been in this position before. If you're a funded startup or a business with revenue, the problem is you want to improve your designs or have something designed, right? And you have money, so the problem becomes finding someone reliable who's really good at design who can do the thing. There are many people you could talk to or go after, but there's a high degree of risk involved with like who's the right person. And then on the HR side, obviously, it's intense and bringing people on, slow to bring them on, slow to bring them off, requires management, etc. So that's the obvious value prop that really aligns and makes sense for the productized services. But the point being that Brett from Design Joy and Bake Design and so forth, the bulk of their clients are funded startups and revenue generating businesses, which is very different to my audience, I think, which is much more early stage folks and indie hackers and whatnot. And I think that's probably part of the hesitation I've had. Not only do I really enjoy the earlier stage stuff more? But also that's much more my audience. So if I wanted to go into productized design, I'd probably have to spend a lot of time doing sales or segueing into a different audience, which feels uncomfortable for me because I've never tried to like appeal to a certain audience. I've just tried to kind of do my thing, and folks show up, and it happens to be, folks similar to me and their ambitions and lifestyles and whatnot, indie hackers. So here's the realization. So I jumped in the bath. All good ideas come from the bath, and while in the bath, thinking about all of these things, I realized, hang on a sec, that part of the equation of the offering kind of requiring, because it sits around like $4,000 to $5,000 a month, it kind of excludes a lot of indie hackers from being able to afford that. Well, what if I just change the part of the equation, which is the like volume of work, the amount of work being performed, because then the price can come down. And I guess I back myself that I'm really quick at designing stuff at this point that looks good, because I've been doing that for years. Just like a lot of repetition of doing that for my own projects and for others. There's something to be said there about an essay I wrote today, which you can find yesterday on my blog, about a Reddit comment speaking to this point of the value, right? I may have failed for like, close to a decade from the conventional perspective of having like a big hit at the park and financial freedom or whatnot, but you're still paying your dues, right? It's not well, it is a positive sum game. Like you're failing, but you're still accruing those skills and expertise. Anyway, that's a segue. Point is, I'm quick. I think I designed to a really good level. It's kind of uncomfortable to say that, but I'm trying to, get past that. I think tall poppy syndrome's a pretty toxic part of New Zealand culture. I should feel more comfortable acknowledging my skills and playing to them. But what if I offered essentially like a day rate? Maybe like $800. And you might be someone early on who doesn't have a ton of money to throw at their project. But $800, whether you have a landing page you really need to get created, or an MVP you need designed, or a refresh of your existing MVP that was perhaps quite scrappy. $800. I'll spend a full day working on it. I can do it live, and that might stand to benefit you as well. I can even kind of do it with you and do it in such a way that I'm communicating what it is I'm doing as kind of a design education process to help you understand different processes and methodologies and ways of approaching design problems. I think these are things like I'm good at, I really enjoy, and that, I also spent a lot of time last night really going through my finances. It's been tricky lately, as I spoke to you yesterday. It's been tough, but through looking through all my finances and sorting stuff out, I think I've kind of leveled up a little bit in that department, which is good. I'm glad it's happened at least at some point. Granted, it would have been great a few years ago, but these things happen when they happen. The point is, I could do like one of those engagements a week and be able to afford to live at like the baseline, which is pretty cool. I think I could probably hunt one of those a week. I think I'm lucky in so far as there's a lot of folks in the community who would probably pull me up on this kind of thing, or take me up on this kind of thing. And then it compounds over time, because the more obviously you do it, the bigger your portfolio and the bigger awareness people have of what you're offering, and that supply demand shifts, and you can charge more and have more leads coming in, and so on and so forth. So I don't know. I think it's really exciting. And I think the other way of looking at this, and I'll say this to, because again, I don't know, maybe now or in the future this might be helpful to someone, but the other thought exercise I went through, journaling about this train of thoughts last night after I'd been in the bath, was to, kind of first of all acknowledge the very, well understood split between trading your time for money versus like more passive activities. And I guess, what I'm describing here is definitely trading my time for money. Much like building public live, like that's me trading my time for money, teaching people. Um, but I enjoy those things. I'm good at it. Cool. I can sit at a really good rate and have a high leverage there and do those things. But then also over time, be working more towards more passive things or less kind of time, money trades. Things like, for instance, growing Building Public Live out as like a paid membership community, which I think there's a lot of, yeah, it'd be great. Like I can make it way more accessible by bringing the price way down. But then also like there's a network compound benefit effect that happens. The more people are in there, more kind of like highly ambitious, driven people supporting one another and sharing knowledge and whatnot. Yeah, obviously Elite UX is going to be a monthly recurring model as well. So as we launch that, that should hopefully add more to that bucket and change that ratio of the amount of work I'm doing, time trades versus passive. And there's another little stealth project I'm working on that should be, yeah, a nice SaaS offering as well. So yeah, that's just a bunch of thoughts. I thought I'd capture them and share them. We'll see where this goes. I'm excited. I think this notion of productized design not just having to be for high-paying, bigger clients, but rather you could scale your offering down, and as long as you're quick enough, and can still maintain that level of quality, you can still nail it, hit it out the park. So, yeah, that's my thinking. That's what I got. All right, I'm gonna tuck into some work. Thanks for listening. You take it easy. I'll catch you again sometime soon.